Hi guys, Rob here. Thanks for joining me as I journey back into the mines of Moria. I had an issue with the save game from my last video, so I'm going to be starting from the start again. I'll be rolling up a new character, and basically we'll just be playing to see how far I can get before I inevitably die. So why don't we just jump in and see how far I can get. Alright, now I want to show you a different class this time. So instead of being a warrior, I want to show you a class that can cast some spells, because spells are really interesting in this game, I think. So I'm going to show you how to play a spellcaster with the paladin class. So if I want to be a paladin, I have to be a human. So I'll pick human, and I'll pick male again. Right now, paladins need they need to be sort of an all-round tough class. They need to have good strength, good wisdom, and probably good dexterity and constitution couldn't hurt either. So I'm just going to keep rolling here and see if I can come up with a character that's really strong in those three stats, and hopefully the others as well. So let's see, what can I come up with here? That's actually not bad, but social class 1's pretty lousy. I'd really like to get a character with a decent social class as well. So let's see here. It's not so great in the wisdom department. Intelligence 15, 92. That's pretty good social class. I don't want to waste too much time doing this. I'm mindful of everyone's sort of attention span here. So yeah, that's probably decent. Decent character to be a paladin. So I'll hit escape to accept characteristics. I am one of several children of a guildsman. I am a well-liked child. I have dark brown eyes, straight auburn hair, and an average complexion. Now I'll pick the paladin. Great. Now you can see at the top there it says I can learn some new prayers now. Prayers are the spells, if you want, that paladins can cast. They're kind of like holy warriors. If you look at my stats, my intelligence is fairly low. But my wisdom, strength, dexterity, constitution, charisma, all pretty strong, so I'm happy with this character. So I'll just pick a name. I don't know. Let's call him Holy Steve. You can learn some new prayers now. Fantastic. So let's just check out my equipment. I'm not going to do as much explaining as I did in the last video, because if you want to learn how this game works, just check out the first video. That I kind of explain the basics there. I'm not going to bore you with all that jazz this time. So let's wield my cloak, and I'll wield my dagger as well. You can see that the paladin doesn't start with armour like the warrior does, so I'm going to have to buy that. So why don't I just make my way to the armour shop? Yeah, here we are. Great. And let's see, what kind of armour can I buy? I got the studded leather armour. That's probably a good option. Studded leather. Chainmail is way out of my my price range here, so I'll buy some studded leather armour. Okay, he wants 239. 30. Are you mad? I love the haggling in this game. It's so much fun. May the fleas of 1,000 orcs molest you. I want 188 gold. Thou knave. No less than 182. So you can see you can kind of creep. You would rob my poor starving children? I guess I would. Your mother was a troll! Oh, whoops, typo. I paid more than 100 for it myself. Try 155. So, usually you can get them down to around about half price, if your charisma is good enough. So 133. I insist on 133. That's an insult. You drive a hard bargain, but taken. Great, so now I have the studded leather. So I will equip the studded leather. Fantastic. Let's see, what else can I buy here? I can buy gauntlets for 83 gold, or I can buy the leather gloves for 6 gold. It's a pretty big difference in price there, isn't it? You know, I think I'll buy the shield. because that's not too expensive. 30. May your chickens grow lips. 35 then, you bastard. 35 is far too little. How about 44? Let's say 40. May your chickens grow lips. I've heard that one already, Morglin. You idiot. Okay, got the shield. I'm now wearing the shield. Now I'll buy some boots, because they're pretty cheap. Now, knave. No less than 15 gold pieces. I'll take no less than 14. I think you will take less than 14. So you see, this is just the way it goes. May the Balrog find you tasty. 10 gold pieces? Now, I guess it's probably a good time to mention the Balrog at this point. The way to beat this game, which I don't think I mentioned in the first video, is to get deep into the dungeon and to kill the Balrog. It sounds easy enough, but the Balrog is really hard to kill. In fact, I think the designer of the game, Robert Konecki, I think he designed the Balrog to more or less be invincible. So, basically, if you think you've got a chance of beating the Balrog, you're wrong. There's really no way to beat him without cheating. So, essentially, you're doomed from the very beginning, which you would think would not make for a very fun game, but even... Oh, he only... Okay, he's demanding 45. You know, even if you'll never win this game, it's still fun to give it a go and see how far you can get, which I'm doing now for your pleasure. What else can I buy from it? I think I could... I don't have anything on my head, but I can't afford the hard leather cap because it's magical. You can tell if something's magical, by the way, if it has a plus next to it. That 2+2 on the hard leather cap lets you know that it's actually a magical cap, because it's giving you +2 magical armor rating, I guess, over what a standard hard leather cap would give you. God, who are these people? I see a filthy street urchin. Entry to the general store, alchemy shop, pitiful looking beggar, another pitiful looking beggar. Okay, I might just avoid the street urchin because those guys are real bastards. They'll steal your money. Just generally a pain in the ass. Right, so now I'm going to the weapon shop. Let's see what we can buy in the weapon shop. Now I've already got a, a dagger, I believe. I'm wielding a dagger, but I want something better than a dagger. Probably a mace is the best deal here. It does 2d4 damage, which is, again, this is Dungeons & Dragons stuff, but it's essentially 2 4-sided dice, so the damage range will be from 2 to 8, if you follow me. That's pretty good. It's a lot better than my dagger, so, and it's a pretty decent price as well, so I'll try and buy the mace from him. From Ithelmuck the Beastly. Half-troll. 30? Are you mad? I'm not mad. I'm mad about a good deal for this mace. I have to do better than that. A scrap this would bring 60. Oh, let's say 100 then. Sell this for such a pittance? Give me 230 gold. 20. May your chickens grow lips. I want 213 in gold. 30. Yeah, I've heard that line a few times. Guys. Kind of reminds me a bit of GTA, where, like, you know, you'll hear some piece of you know, sort of written dialogue, and you'll think that's really funny, and then you hear it again, and it's less funny, and then by the time you finish playing the game, you've heard it 100 times, and you're really over it. Okay, 168 is far too little. How about 171? 169. I insist on 169. Ugh, 170 is my final offer. Take it or leave it. Alright, fine. Have a mace. I'll wield the mace. I was wielding the dagger, now wielding the mace. Now I'll sell the dagger. Let's see, let's try and get, I don't know, 10 bucks out of him for it. 10? Never! 4 is more like it. Alright, 9. 5 gold for that junk, no more. 8? For 8, I could own 10 of those. Try 6. 7. Okay, no more than 6 from me. Alright, 6 it is. Okay, so I've got myself a pretty decent collection of equipment so far. I'm wielding a mace, which sounds pretty hardcore. I've got my studded leather armor. I've got a shield, gauntlets, a pair of leather boots, and a cloak, so I'm pretty well equipped for combat. Let's try and go to the general store quickly. Alright, now I want to get some food here, so I'll... My mother you can get for 2, this costs 3. I demand 2. Don't be kidding. Final offer, I'll give you no more than 3. Alright, Lyra L. Comley. poor sick children may starve, but done. So, keep buying rations from this guy. I want to keep playing for a while here, so I'll buy a few. Wooden torches. Let me see. I'll offer him one. You've got to be kidding. He's very insistent on selling his mother for sex. It's a bit of a worry. This elf's up to all kinds of no good. Never trust an elf. That's a good, fantasy role-playing game tip. Maybe I'm racist against elves. I don't know. I just don't trust them. Pitiful-looking beggar. Let's try and just make my way past this guy. I want to go to the temple, which is shop number 4, because they sell prayer books, as you can see. Now, to cast a prayer, if you will, or pray a prayer, maybe that's more appropriate, you need the right book. I've got a Holy Book of Prayers, beginner's handbook, but I want the next book up, because eventually I'll be able to cast, or pray, let's just say cast, alright. I'll be able to cast higher level prayers, so I want to get this more advanced prayer book. 60, are you mad? 70 is fast, you little... Thou knave! I paid more than 90 for it myself. Try 123. Right, I got 100. 102. Your mother was a troll. 103 is an insult. Try 114 gold pieces. I'll show you an insult. 114, you bastard. Well, I'll take no. Now that worked? Wow. Awesome. Well, I just discovered something new about this game. 105, you low, dirty peasant. 130 is my final offer. Take it or leave it. Alright, I guess he didn't take kindly to me calling him a peasant. I didn't know you could type things after the offer and it would still work. That's kind of fun for a role-playing perspective. Great, so I've got the Words of Wisdom book for a low price. Now, while I'm here, I may as well try and buy a couple more things from this store, because this is a really useful store. It's selling potions of cure light wounds and serious wounds here. These are really useful items to have, so I'll try and buy some potions of cure light wounds from him. 7, goddammit. It's an insult. What you can get for 7. This costs 23. 10 and your mother for free. I paid more than 10 for it myself. Try 20. 11. May the fleas of 1,000 orcs molest you. Yeah, I've heard that one before, mate. 14. I want for 14. Alright, I'll give you no more than... Fine. I'm pushing the limit with these guys a bit. So I'll keep buying a few more potions of cure light wounds. Got 3 of those. That's probably pretty useful. What else can I get here? I really like to get a scroll of word of recall. That's a really useful scroll. Basically what that does is it takes you back to the town, no matter where you are in the dungeon, so you might be like 50 floors deep. Use the scroll of word of recall and you'll return right back to the town level, so really useful to have that. So I'll just make my way over to the... Oh, who's following me? Pitiful looking beggar. You won't get anything from me, mate. Barking up the wrong tree, buddy. Oh god, who's this? A singing happy drunk. I didn't know they put AC in this game. No way, AC. I'm trying to get to the stairs. Okay, great. So, before I go into the dungeon, I may as well gain some prayers. So I do that by hitting G to gain prayers. I've learned the prayer of detect evil. Great. Now, if you want to see what prayers are in my books that I can potentially learn, I can just hit P for peruse, right? And then go to the prayer books. So this is sort of the beginner prayers. I'd really like to learn the prayer for cure light wounds. That's a really useful prayer to learn. The other ones are, as you can see there. And if I hit peruse, on the other book, there you go. So I can learn prayers like blind creature, portal, sanctuary, etc. Create food. That's really useful, especially if you find yourself stuck deep in the dungeon without any food. So paladins are a really useful class because they can generate their own food, they can heal themselves, much more survivable, I guess, than a warrior in a lot of ways. So I'll wield a torch, and I'll enter the dungeon. Alright, let's play some Moria, guys. Okay, I'll check out this grey mushroom patch. We know what to do with mushrooms in this game. Hit them with weapons! You missed the grey mushroom patch. How can you miss a mushroom patch? God! It's the worst. Hit the grey mushroom patch. You have slain the grey mushroom patch. Hurrah! I vanquished my first enemy. This is off to a great start. What's this? Some kind of skeleton. A giant centipede skeleton. Oh, whoa! Whoa! Kobold hits me. Bastard was just lying in wait for me. I'll show him what for. Hit the kobold hits you. Hit the kobold, you have slain the kobold. Stupid frickin' kobold. Son of a bitch. You hurt me a fair bit, you know. Door appears to be broken. I want to just rest a little bit, because I want to get my hit points back. So I'll rest for like 20 turns or something. Here we go. Alright. Let's go take on this centipede. I know it's a centipede. If you've watched the first video, I end up killing a lot of centipedes. So, centipede, you've slain the centipede. Hurrah! That was easy. Okay, now let's just pass by the skeleton and proceed south. Oh, another centipede! Bites me and stings me. Bastard! You missed the centipede. The centipede bites you and stings you. Ah, fuck! I can close that door. Brilliant. I don't think centipedes can come through doors. We'll find out, won't we? I'm just going to wait on the spot, and I do that by hitting full stop, and that just means I'm just spending a turn doing nothing, essentially. I'm just going to hit that button a bunch, turn back to full health, so it doesn't look like centipedes can get through doors, which makes sense, I think. There he is. Hit the centipede, you've slain the centipede, hurrah! 10 experience points. How many experience points do I need to get to the next level? 13. Alright, cool. Not far off. So I've already killed a fair few creatures. I killed a mushroom, I killed a kobold. If you're wondering what a kobold is, I think in the Dungeons and Dragons lore they're like some kind of... They're like a humanoid with like sort of a dog's head, like a dog-headed humanoid. Sorry, just sampling some of my coffee from my my trusty mug, which I always have with me when I'm playing my PC. Yeah, kobolds, I think in German mythology are like a goblin or something, but in Dungeons and Dragons, for some reason they're like a dog-headed humanoid. A small dart hits you, you feel yourself moving slower. Crikey. I'll just rest and see if I can just wait for that to wear off. You feel yourself speed up. Great. Excellent. So, resting. A really useful thing to know how to do. A giant white centipede and a floating eye. Alright, let's just creep up on the centipede. You hit the centipede. The centipede misses you. The centipede stings you. You hit the centipede. You have slain the centipede. Hurrah. Floating eye draws psychic energy from you. Floating eye appears healthier. Ah, son of a bitch. What the eye did just then is drain my mana. You can see my mana just there underneath my experience points. Mana is like sort of the points you use to cast spells or prayers. So by draining my psychic energy, he's making it so that I can't pray, which is a real pain in the arse, actually. Yay, I killed him! And now I'm level 2. I'm a keeper. And I can learn some new prayers. Fantastic. So let's hit G to gain some new spells. I've learned the Prayer of Cure Light Wounds. Awesome. Really useful prayer to know, as I've mentioned already. Now I can heal myself, basically. Which is just so useful. I'm really feeling good about my chances to get pretty far in this, or at least, you know, show you a decent chunk of Moria using the Paladin class because they're very survivable class. Ooh, centipede on the move. A giant yellow centipede. Bastard. What if I just wait here? Ha! I ambushed him. You missed the giant yellow centipede. The giant yellow centipede bites you, stings you. You miss. It bites me, stings me. Bastard. You hit the centipede, it bites me, stings me. Christ. Bad way here. Hit the centipede. You've slain the centipede. Great. I was a bit worried there. I was losing a fair few hit points. So I want to show you how prayers work now that I've been injured. I will use my newly acquired prayer of Cure Light Wounds to heal myself. So I'll just hit P for pray. Use Witch Holy Book. I'll use my beginner's handbook. And I will recite the prayer for Cure Light Wounds. Damn, it didn't work. You can see on the prayer list here that there's a fail chance. And I've got a 29% chance of failing to cast Cure Light Wounds. I think they explain it in the manual for this game that it's like the gods aren't listening to you or something like that. Damn it, I'm not being very successful at praying this prayer here, so I might just rest to get my hit points back at this point. The higher level I get, the more easy it is for me to cast those prayers. Like that fail chance will go down the higher level I get, so you know, it's not always going to be that hard to pray. Just like in real life, you can pray all you want, but it's tricky to get your prayers answered, and isn't that just indicative of some shit? Searching around. Okay, well, that was useless. I found out that searching actually, to move around using the search mode, it takes twice as long, so your torch will burn out faster because you're spending more time, you know, looking around basically, which is kind of interesting to know that. I was wondering whether there was any detriment to just having search mode on constantly, and it turns out that there is. Whoa! You hit the giant white mouse, you've slain the giant white mouse. Wow, I just practically walked into that guy. Wasn't paying attention. Mice and centipedes are no trouble for Holy Dan or Holy Steve. Hit kobold, the kobold hits you. You miss the kobold. Fucking kobolds! Bastards! Hit the kobold, you've slain the kobold. What a fucker! Really hurt me. I'll just rest a little bit. I always recommend it to rest after fights. There's no reason to not rest. You may as well have your hit points back to full. Because who knows what bullshit this game will throw at you. At any moment... Ah! Another kobold. Slain the kobold. Fantastic. As I was saying, you never know what bullshit this game is about to throw at you. You know, like, you might just be cruising along thinking everything's fine, and before you know it, you step on a trap that summons like 6 monsters. They just proceed to beat the ever-loving shit out of you, and before you know it, you just fucking corpse on the ground, bleeding, and you see a scroll titled Bunes Cre, large white snake, and a giant white mouse. Alright, well what I'll do is I'll pick up this scroll. Oh boy, snake's on the move. Let me just tempt the snake out here. See, what I'm concerned about, guys, even though I'm not really afraid of mice, is that the mice can multiply, which I might try and demonstrate to you in a moment, but I want to take the snake on first before I have to take on the mouse and the snake, because that would just be really hard. You miss the snake bites you, you hit the snake bites you, you miss the snake bites you, you hit the snake, you've slain the snake. Great. Oh god, see that? See how now there's 2, now there's 3? If I'm not careful, they will keep on multiplying, and before I know it, the whole damn dungeon could be like filled with mice. So I've got to just smack these little fuckers with my mace in a swift fashion. There we go, killed them all. It's so weird how they multiply. Like there'll be one and then there's two all of a sudden. It's like they're amoebas and they just sort of split in half. I don't understand how that works exactly, but apparently they have the ability to divide like single-cell organisms. Kind of freaky when you think about it. I've got this image in my head of a mouse like splitting in two and just suddenly there are two mice in front of you. That's just horrific. Searching. Nothing here. Oh, secret door. Great. Alright, let's just see what else we can find in the vicinity. Okay, that's not money lying on the ground. That's money that's in the rock. I need a pick or a shovel to get that, so unfortunately I can't get at that money, which is annoying because I would like to have some money. Who wouldn't? Okay, nothing around here. I could have sworn there'd be something at the end of this corridor. It just seems really weird that there isn't. Alright, apparently not. I'm probably not the best at searching as a paladin. I think warriors are slightly better at it. Certainly, if I had a better dexterity score, it would probably be a lot easier to search for stuff. But you hit it, you have slain it. Ugh, that was another one of those invisible enemies that, if you watch the first video, I came across. Kind of creepy that there's invisible enemies out there, and they can be a real problem deeper in the dungeon. There are ways and means by which you can... Ooh, centipede. Oh god. Taking a fair bit of damage here. Let's try using that prayer again to heal ourselves. P for pray, A for the beginner's book, and B for cure light wounds. You feel better. See, so my hit points are back up. Really useful. Ah, great. You've slain the giant white centipede. Welcome to level 3. You can learn some new prayers now. Brilliant. Alright, well let's keep exploring for a little while longer, and then I might call it for this installment, and maybe continue the adventures at a later date. You hit the large brown snake. You miss the large brown snake. The large brown snake bites you. The large brown snake crushes you. Hit the large brown snake. Hit the large brown snake. You've slain the large brown snake. Fantastic. You can see on the first level, it's, you know, it's basically restricted to like rodentia and insects and the occasional kobold. Not the most menacing enemies on the first floor. But as you go deeper into the dungeon, you will come across all kinds of really terrifying enemies. There's like wraiths and ghosts, there's orcs and trolls, dragons. Dragons are really hard to beat. I just picked up a cloak off the floor. 5-second rule. You missed the large white snake? Oh, there's a snake up here. If I just wait here and see if it pops its head up. You missed the large white snake. The large white snake bites you. You hit the large white snake. The large white snake bites you. You miss. 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 Hit. Bites me. You hit the snake. You've slain the snake. Yeah, these snakes and stuff aren't exactly the most daunting of enemies, but there are different kinds of snakes, and I think that black snake I fought in the first video is like a pretty high level snake. It just sounds so weird to even talk about it in this way. It's a really high level snake. I have a purple potion. Oh, what's this guy? A white icky thing. Ugh. Yuck. That's so gross. Alright, well I better kill it, because it's icky. You miss the white icky thing, the white icky thing touches you. Ah, it's touching me! Ah. You hit the white icky thing, the white icky thing touches you. Bad touch! Bad touch! You hit the white icky thing, you have slain the white icky thing. That little bloody creeper! Touching me in my private areas? Oh, that's disgusting. Giant white centipede bites you and stings you. Ugh, I walked right into that. Slaying the giant yellow centipede. Fantastic. Alright. How many more experience points till the next level? 60. That's probably going to take me a while. Just keep exploring down here. Doesn't seem to be... Oh, hello. Centipede skeleton, a scroll. I think there's a potion here too. A speckled potion. Centipede. We know how to deal with these guys. They're not that much of a threat. A brown speckled potion and a scroll titled Nedjerg Y. What am I carrying here? So I've already got I've got 2 potions. I don't know what they do. A metallic purple potion and a brown speckled potion. Oh, and a magenta potion. Okay. And I've also got 2 scrolls. I don't know what they do either. Scrolls and potions usually are, you know, like benefic, like they'll help you. But occasionally you'll come across a scroll or a potion that is like potions can be poison. You can just drink a potion and it's like, you just drank a potion of poison. Great. Fantastic. I guess they didn't have those child safety lids that they put on methylated spirits bottles these days. And scrolls, you know, usually are pretty helpful, but sometimes you'll read a scroll and it's like, you just read a scroll of curse, and great, now you're cursed, hurrah! So proceed with caution. Don't just read every scroll and drink every potion you pick up. It's not advisable. Don't do that. Okay? Just don't. The white worm mass. Ooh! Worm mass. You've slain the white worm. There's a few of those guys. There's a couple of them anyway. Worm masses are like mice. They can multiply. So you got to kill them really quickly before they create a worm or mouse plague. And whoa! Seem to be waiting on the other side of the door for me. Wow! Oh, that was a critical hit. It was an excellent hit, times 3 damage. Slain the white centipede. Fantastic. Wonder what's around here. Probably nothing. I'll just check what's around this corner. What's that? A sling. That might be useful. I'll pick that up. If I find some stones, I can use the sling to sling stones at people. Believe it or not. Which can be useful. I've slain the mushroom patch. Brilliant. Mushrooms. Really scary enemies. White snake. Oh god. Here's another thing you can do in this game that I didn't show you in the first video. You can actually bash the enemies. You can sort of shoulder charge them, and you use the same command that you would do to bash down a door. If you have a shield, it's actually particularly effective, so I'm going to try it on this snake. There we go. So I just bashed the snake with my shield, and it's stunned, which gives me a few free hits on the snake. That's a pretty useful tactic, but if you mess it up, you'll be off balance and vulnerable, so it's a little bit risky. Alright, I'll just make my way back to the staircase here, and we'll leave it here, and I'll go down into the 2nd floor of the dungeon in the next installment. So thanks for joining me again for more Moria, and I'll see you next time when I brave the depths of level 2. See ya!